I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you what it was like to check into medical in the Dilley residential facility with my 7-year-old daughter. My name's Tanya Warner. I was detained by CBP and transferred to ICE with my 7-year-old daughter. We were able to bond out with the help of crowdfunding. So please, if you can help us with our GoFundMe, I would be incredibly grateful. I'm not going to tell you all 14 days of our experience in Dilley because I can't remember each day one at a time. I sort of wish I journaled. Let me tell you about getting transferred from Ursula, the CBP center, and then getting checked into Dilley. We had to go to an ICE meeting on 4 hours of sleep, and then immediately we had to go to medical and get checked over. They sat us in the waiting room, and I immediately just started to cry. It was such a whirlwind. The day before, someone had tried to traffic me, their 16-year-old son, and I was terrified for my daughter's rash, and I thought that we were going to be let out of CBP with an ankle monitor so that my daughter could go to school. They did no such thing. They transferred us to the residential center, which is actually prison, and I was still trying to process everything that was happening to us while paying attention to everything that was going on around me and to us. I went into a medical office, sat with a woman who told me that she was going to medically assess me. She asked me a bunch of questions, one of which was, have you ever been violently assaulted? I said, yes, in my childhood and in my adult life by multiple partners. And the next thing I knew, she was telling me that I was a risk. And I said, a risk for what? And she said, I don't know. That's just what comes up when we put that into your file. I said, okay, am I a risk to other people, a risk to myself? What does that mean? We had to do tuberculosis screening. They also took my labs. I have no idea why, because they didn't actually give me cholesterol medication, which I'm supposed to take. So I'm not really sure what they do it for, so that if you die, they can claim it wasn't their fault. I don't know. My daughter was seen by Dr. Gaber. Dr. Gaber was really great, but again, wrote off Ayla's rash as a viral rash or a histamine rash, which it wasn't. And I kept trying to tell them that it was the harsh detergents. They wouldn't listen to me. So after finally getting hydrocortisone in Ursula, I was denied hydrocortisone in Dilley. It took me 3 more appointments to get hydrocortisone for Ayla. A couple of days later, they made us do a psychological assessment. I did not like the woman that was doing our psychological assessment. She first addressed mine and said, I notice here it says that you are combination type ADHD. And I said, yes. And she said, well, I'm on my medication. And I said, okay. And she said, well, I'm calm. Basically alluding to the fact that if I took legal speed, I would also be calm. I choose to use diet and exercise to manage my ADHD. After trying ADHD medications, I noticed that they always make me feel high. So I don't think I'm truly ADHD. And she started to tell me how she took her medication, how she would cut it into quarters so that it wouldn't keep her awake. So even though some people who say or claim they have ADHD say that the medication doesn't keep her high, if she has to manage it like that into quarters, clearly she notices it. Basically, she referred to it as taking another bump. And I was like, great, so you're a junkie. I didn't say that. That's just how I feel. But I did at one point tell her to stop condescending me. And then she quipped in and said that I guess my master's doesn't mean anything. I said, well, you don't have to hold it over my head. I said, you don't have to be a dick. And she's like, don't speak to me like that. That's offensive. And I was like, and I don't care. I ended the meeting. I walked out because I didn't like her and didn't care about her opinion or anything that she had to say in regards to my child. They tried to keep getting me to see her, and I kept basically telling her, without telling her, to fuck off. So that was my experience with the medical in Dilley. Stay tuned for more fun adventures in the Dilley Immigration Incarceration Facility.